All right. Order. Call this meeting to order by President Gaham at 6:01 p.m. Can we all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you. Roll call of members. Mr. Obaid?
Present.
Ms. Watson? Absent. Mr. Ferris? Absent. Mr. Al-Gaham?
Present.
Ms. Boyanek?
Present.
Ms. Mia?
Present.
All right, it's your first meeting. Welcome.
Welcome.
Okay, so we have quorum. Resolution number 1, acceptance of agenda. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
I heard Ms. Boyanek, seconded by Mr. Obaid. Resolved that the Board of Education accepts and approves the agenda with any additions or deletions. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, 5 ayes. 2 absent. Motion carries. We move on to acknowledgements. May 1st was Principal Day, and May 4th through 8th was Teacher Appreciation Week. We thank all our principals and teachers for everything they do for our students, parents, families, and district as a whole. So thank you very much. And now we have reports to the board. We have Kristen Hertz.
Okay, so I'm not Principal Hurt, but I'm filling in for her.
Oh, you are? Okay.
I am filling in for her, yes. So this is from her. We are excited to recognize the teachers whose dedication, passion, and hard work have helped bring something truly special back to KMS. This past school year, Mr. Georgievich, did I say that correct? Thank you. Has worked tirelessly to rebuild our string program from the ground up. He spent countless hours refurbishing violins and restoring instruments to working condition, ensuring students had the opportunity to learn and grow through music. What began as a vision quickly became a thriving group of enthusiastic students eager to learn, motivated to practice, and excited to perform. Thanks to his commitment and the students' dedication, KMS was able to debut a fall symphonic orchestra during a special performance earlier today when Cougars of the Month were celebrated. From what we understand, it has been more than 40 years since KMS has had a full orchestra program, making this achievement especially meaningful for our school community. We are incredibly proud of the work that he has been done, and grateful for the energy and the heart he has brought to our students and our school. So please join me in welcoming him this evening, along with a few of his talented students, as we celebrate the outstanding accomplishment. Performing tonight, would you like to introduce our students tonight,
Yes.
please?
This is just a part of our group is all 35.
Okay.
So who next year probably bigger one. Is Himanka, Sami, Muhammad, Sneha, Muhammad, Amar, and Muhammad.
Welcome.
A lot of Muhammad in there.
Yeah.
We're gonna perform 3 songs for you: Arkansas Traveler, Sound of the Mountain, and finish with Can Can.
All right,
Hope
let's
you
hear it.
enjoy. I need to do it through the system, so I have to do this. hard, they're working hard.
Yes, yes.
Good job.
Would you like to come up to take a photo with the board?
Sure.
You guys want to? Come on up. Leave your instruments on the chairs and come on up. Well, let them stay in front. You were behind. You're first. Thank you. Oh, you should be in there too.
Oh, is it neat here?
Yeah.
Somebody can take
No, he's taking right there.
Well, you want to give your phone to somebody? They can take it.
It's gonna be in the Hamtramck library. He takes really good pictures. Yeah. Yeah. It's gonna be on channel 19. All right, thank you.
That'll be a video.
That's really impressive. Thank you so much. You guys should come every board meeting.
Hey, let's make a schedule.
Better in the city.
Right? All right, next up we have our audit report.
So I did pass out in front of you a copy of the audit report, the single audit report, the governance letter, and then the presentation I'll be going over. If there are additional questions, if we gotta get into the detail, we have all the reports in front of you, but I'll just go through the PowerPoint slide.
Okay?
Clicker.
Actually,
Or do you
if
just,
tell me.
I'll just tell you when. Yep. So we can go to the next slide. So we're gonna start out with the audit results. So the audit process really consists of three parts. We look at the financial statements, which are the numbers. We look at your internal controls, which are the district safeguards. And we look at compliance, federal, state, local laws, and regulations.
Wait, how?
Fund, which is your major fund, and then your non-major governmental funds aggregated in one column, and that's the recreation fund, food service fund, student activities fund, and your sinking fund. When we look at the general fund, we have $35.4 million in assets, $24.5 million in liabilities, $616,000 of deferred inflows, and $10.3 million in fund balance at the end of the year. Your non-major governmental funds, $4.2 million in assets, $227,000 in liabilities, $316,000 in deferred inflows, and $3.7 million in fund balance. On the next slide, we have your statement of revenues, expenditures, and changes in fund balance. Again, broken down major fund and non-major aggregate. The revenues in the general fund this year of $84.8 million, expenditures of $82.3 for an increase of $2.4 million, bringing back to that same fund balance of $10.3 million that we mentioned on the last slide. Your non-major governmental funds, just under $4 million in revenues, $5.1 million in expenditures for a decrease of $1.1 million, bringing back to that same $3.7 million that we mentioned. Now we're going to focus on the general fund on the next slide. This is your general fund budget. So we have your original budget, your final budget, and your actual. Those actual numbers are what we already mentioned, but we really want to focus on that column on the right. 89% accurate on your revenues, 93% accurate on your expenditures and your budgeting practice compared to your final budget. These are a little lower than we would expect them to be about 95 to 100%. So a little lower than what we expect, but a lot of changes at the state level and not knowing exactly what funding you were getting. And you will see there that your expenditures are under budget, and so is the revenue. So then we take your revenue and break that down into a pie chart for you. Again, $84.8 million in total revenues this year. A big increase from last year. That was only $58.9 million last year. But if you look at the percentages, ESSER funds were huge this year. Almost $3.5 million additional ESSER funds, $1.7 million in title funds. Last year, the 60-day rule of revenue that you recognized into this year was 9.4 million of those increases. But if you look at the federal, $35.4 million in federal revenue was 42% this year, and that was only 20% last year because of all those items that I mentioned, the ESSER funds, the title funds, and those additional 60-day rule funds, almost over, well, $9.5 million in there. But just because of that big increase, the other ones did decrease slightly. State was 68%, went down to 51% this year. Local was 6%, went down to 4%. And interdistrict was 4%, went down to 3%, just because of so much federal revenue coming through the district in the current year. On the next slide, we have your expenditures. $82.3 million in total expenditures this year in your general fund compared to $70.8 million last year, so an increase of almost $12 million. However, even though you did have that big increase, all of your percentages were within a percentage point of last year. So very consistent in how you spent the funds compared to the last year. And I will expect your capital outlay, you had 2 years of big capital outlay of 21%, both years in capital outlay. I expect those to come back down now that ESSER funds are gone, so those other percentage or pieces of the pie will start to increase again in your current fiscal year. Then we take those, on the next slide, we take those revenues and expenditures for the general fund, divide them by your pupil count. At the end of the year, you had 2,863 students. And so when you break those down, on this slide, it's a nice line chart for over the last 6 years, and you will see big increases in spending and revenues that came into the district, mostly due to the COVID funding that was coming into the district. The goal here on this slide is really to keep that blue line above the red line. You'll see that a couple years it did drop the other way. This year, 29,609 in your revenues per pupil and 28,756 in your expenditures per pupil. Then we have a 10-year enrollment trend. You will see how it is lagging off here in the last 4 years. So you had, your high point was 3,332 students back in 2020, and it did drop now to 2,863, which really puts you back to where you were about 2014, 2015 timeframe. It was right in between those two numbers, which actually fell off the 10-year chart now. But you would see that it is really a bell curve here. It went up to 2020 was your high point, and then has now started to trickle off to the current year rate. Then we have your general fund balance, and this is the fund balance based on values or dollar values. So you will see from 2020 to 2025, just under 13 million in 2020, did increase up to $19.8 million in 2023, and has come down to now $10.3 million in fund balance. But a nice increase in this last year in your fund balance. But if you remember back only 10 years ago, the district was in deficit. So you were in deficit in 2014 still. So it is a nice turnaround in the last 11 years to have $10.3 million in fund balance. And in the next slide, we break those down into percentages for you. And you will see a slight increase this year, 11.1% last year, and now up to 12.5% fund balance this year. Your peer group, which is between 2,500 and 3,000 students, is 24% fund balance, 24.48. Statewide average is 25.47, so you're about half of the statewide average you see there. But MDE does recommend a minimum fund balance of about 15%, and that is due to state aid. You know, two divided by 12 would be about 15%, and just so that over the summer months you don't have to borrow against your state aid and get you through that. So that's why they do recommend that 15%. So you're slightly under that, but overall, again, a nice turnaround to have 12.5% fund balance compared to you were in deficit 10 years ago. Now when we looked at internal controls and testing, so we did a lot of testing, you'll see here on the page, just a couple to point out. We looked at journal entries, disbursements, payroll, sinking fund compliance. We also do unpredictability procedures every year. We do procedures that management doesn't know about, so that they're not accustomed to everything we're looking at each and every year. We always change up our procedures and look at different things. We do sampling of various disbursements and payroll, so they don't know exactly what transactions we're going to pick, as well as those unpredictable procedures and changing up different things each and every year. Lots of testing and lots of testing with your major programs as well, and we'll talk about that on the next slide. So we have your single audit, which is your federal compliance audit. This year you had $28.5 million in federal expenditures on your schedule of expenditures of federal awards. The major programs that we tested were the Child Nutrition Cluster, which is $2.7 million in federal expenditures, and then the Education Stabilization Fund, or ESSER funds, and that was $19 million of federal expenditures. We did have to test both of those programs. So we had, when we looked at internal controls over your financial reporting, we had two material weaknesses. The first one was a lack of timely reconciliations, and that was finding number 2025-001, or finding number 1 in this current fiscal year, and that was a repeat finding since 2023. So the last 3 years you've had that same finding. And then we also had a lack of proper budgetary controls this year, and that was finding number 2. And not only was that a material weakness in internal controls, it was also listed as material non-compliance, because you were non-compliance with your state budgeting act. Then we move on to, there was no significant deficiencies, so there's different levels. There's a finding or non-compliance, there's significant deficiency, and then material weakness, which is the highest level. And there was no, basically in the middle level for your financial statement reporting. When we looked at those major programs that I mentioned, Child Nutrition Cluster and ESSER, we had one material weakness, and that was untimely Child Nutrition Cluster reimbursement requests, which was finding number 004 this year. You were late on filing of your March and your April Nutrition Cluster program reimbursement requests. Due to the lack of filing, the March one you will not receive at all. The April one, the state has agreed to still pay you. So they are paying you the $315,000. I believe it's already been received. But the $250,000 from March was lost. And then we also have a significant deficiency in non-compliance for Title I allowable costs. That was a follow-up from the previous year. So you see that we didn't test tested Child Nutrition Cluster and ESSER, but we also had to test Title I allowability costs for your payroll. And 10 out of the 40 that we tested still had an issue with the semi-annual certifications, so proper documentation behind the payroll. So it will be tested again next year to follow up on that again. And then finally, last year's findings, you had 3 findings last year. The first one, as I mentioned, the lack of timely reconciliations, that was uncorrected and is still a finding. The second one is significant deficiency in noncompliance for ESSER allowable costs. That program did end, so that was also, we tested it this year, but that program ended, so we did not, there's no additional follow-up that you'll need going forward. And then 2024-003, that was the Title I one that I mentioned that was uncorrected. And the final item in your packet in front of you is your governance letter. The governance letter is required communication between the auditors and those charged with governance, which is the board. Yeah.
Sorry, I have a question.
Yeah.
For the 2024 one, was that the same reason that it was?
Title I allowability, yes.
Yeah,
It was
the-
payroll.
Was it the same number, like the 10 out of the 40, or was it more or less, or? I'm sorry, I know it's less than.
I don't know exactly how many were in error, but it was enough to get us to a significant deficiency, which would be a significant
But
amount.
regardless, it was the same problem.
Yes. So the first part of the governance letter is required communication, so please read through that letter. And then the second part is management comments. So we did have just 2 management comments, so these are not significant deficiencies or material weakness, just the lowest level or just a comment to management to something they can improve on. And that was first, net cash resources, which is again, same as last year. The food service program is over, has too much money remaining in the food service program. This is an issue at 90% of the school districts across the state. It's hard to spend down the food service program at this point, given the fact that we have free free food for all students in the state of Michigan. So it is really hard to spend all the money that's included in the food service program. You can allocate a portion of that, obviously, to the general fund based on your indirect cost rate, but that's not a whole lot that you can pull out of that program. So it just, upgrading, food, upgrading the cafeterias, things like that is a way to spend down fund balance. And then we have unearned and unavailable grant revenues. Here, just need to, as you're spending those grants, as the money comes in, make sure you're spending it, and as you're spending it, make sure you're requesting the amount you spent and not over requesting. Any questions?
So what happens when you have repeat findings? Does that change the finding to a major or anything like that, or no?
Occasionally, they do elevate, if there's something that that your management team is just not taking care of. It may be a management comment one year, and if it's not taken care of, we can move it up to a significant deficiency, then to a material weakness. So it does, some of them do elevate, some just are immaterial to your financial statements, and we do not elevate those.
Is material weakness higher than a significant?
Yes, material weakness is the highest level.
Okay,
Uh-huh.
I
Okay.
had that backwards.
Yeah, I understood that backwards, yeah. Okay.
That is the worst, I'll say.
Yeah.
Material weakness is the worst.
Just the words.
So it's like a
Okay.
major, pretty much?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions on the board?
Not on this.
Okay.
All right, well, thank you very much for having me.
Thank you.
So we can still discuss this then.
Yes.
Okay, I'm looking at the single audit.
You want me to answer?
I'm looking at the single audit,
Yes.
and, the thing is that, got some notes. Well, I gave the board and Jim a packet, that talks about our background here with the audit, for the last 5 years. And the thing is that, in 21, 22, and 23, we were qualified as a low-risk auditee. Can you explain the difference between being qualified as a low-risk auditee and not being qualified means?
Yes. So under a major program that we test, if there is a material weakness or a material weakness on the financial statements, you would no longer qualify as a low risk. You have to have 2 years of clean audits without material weaknesses to become low risk again. So you'll need the next 2, because you have a material weakness this year, 2027 and 2028. So then in 2029, if those 2 years are clean, we could mark it as a low-risk auditee. So the difference between a low-risk auditee and not a low-risk auditee is the amount of testing that we have to do. And if, you know, someone looks at your single audit report, they may say, well, they're not low risk, I'm not gonna fund them. Or, you know, but we have to do testing based on the low risk or not low risk. If you're low risk, we only have to test 20% of your federal expenditures under the single audit guidelines. If you're not low risk, we have to test at least 40% of expenditures. This year, I think it was child nutrition cluster has to be tested at least once every 3 years. That's why that was on rotation this year. And then ESSER is $19 million and had to be tested to get us our coverage.
Okay. So when we have the same problem, it seems, 3 years in a row, in a couple different cases. And I'm looking at, I was looking at the answer that Jim gives to what, or the superintendent gives to what to do about it, and there's a date, and the recommendation for the lack of timely reconciliations is that the accounts be completed prior to the end of the following month. And so since we are in May right now, Jim, can you tell us if March is finished?
March reconciliation,
Yeah.
I believe they are. Cindy's here, Cindy and Brad.
Yeah, so our March, like bank reconciliations are all completed.
Okay.
We are still working on reconciling grants, so that's kind of a fluid thing, that those will keep moving on. Our goal at this point is to have this audit, obviously, for the 25-26 year done on time, and we're pushing really hard to make that happen. But yeah, we are in a much better position today than we were a year ago today.
Okay, because the concern is that if this has happened 3 years in a row, then, and we're still not reconciling, then what makes us think that we're gonna reconcile the next year? Because it seems like we're doing the same thing over and over.
Absolutely fair point. I can't really speak to 3 years ago because I wasn't here, but as I understand it, you had a very strong accountant and a CFO that had been here for some time. And then one left and then the other left. And I think in that interim time, there was a lot that wasn't getting done. I don't know that, I mean, just from what I've walked into, that's what it appears. So having the right people to do the work makes a big difference. You know, what we do in the accounting department is very technical. There's a lot of compliance and regulation, and when you fall behind, it is really difficult to catch up. And then, as Mr. Dixon said, you know, we go from a low-risk auditee to a high-risk auditee. So now instead of having to pull documentation for, say, 20%, now we're doing it on 40%. So being behind creates actually even more work. So we're behind, now we've got more work to do, and we're really trying really hard to reset some procedures so that once we get caught up, we're now caught up, as opposed to completely being behind. And we've done that. We've worked really hard with our grants people to make sure that we're not having some of these findings with respect to payroll. But, you know, given the timing of things and the late nature of some of these audit findings coming through, there is like a runoff period where we still may encounter some of those issues going forward, but I can assure you we have worked really hard to address and correct them.
Well, I would also, you know, correct me if I'm wrong, but we had $60 million in ESSER funds from 23, 24, 25. That created, I mean, abnormal amount of money that came in with compliance associated with it, that you won't have going forward now, because ESSER's over.
Correct.
So when reconciliating these material weaknesses, is it like, can you do it in 1 year? Or is it like you have to go from material weakness to significant,
No, you can clear material weaknesses within a year.
Okay,
So that reconciliation one, if when we get here for the audit, they give us that trial balance and everything ties out and they have support for everything, and it's all ready when we get here, then that goes away.
Okay, alright.
If, for the payroll one, if they have all the supporting documents for everyone's wages.
For the Title I?
Yep, for Title I, if they have all the supporting documents for all the wages and we pull our sample and we get 0 out of 40 that are incorrect, then we can remove that. So
So
they,
it's year to year and not a certain date set, like
Right.
monthly to, like a corrective action and give it a due date.
correct,
You guys don't have that, right?
correct.
Okay.
On the management's corrective action, which is included in the single audit, they do state a date because it's required by the standards that you put a date in there, so when you're gonna correct it. But they can say, June 30th of 2026 reconciliations.
Okay. Alright.
And the due date for this audit this year was June 30th?
The due date for this audit was November
November
1st.
No, I'm saying for the next coming audit.
Oh, yes, June 30th of 2026 is the end of your fiscal year. It is due November 1st to the state.
Okay.
See, and that's the funding issue that we came into,
Yes.
because they don't release your funds unless you're,
Yeah, no, I understand, that's what I'm saying, like, we gotta make sure that this year we get it.
Well,
Do you
that's,
think we are on a track to be done by November
I
first?
do. I thank you for giving us the resources we need to help get us to where we can correct some procedures, look at things, and build, because it's not just what we do in the business office, it's systematic throughout the district.
Yes, yes.
Anybody who spends money, asks a person to work, all of that is, we see that once it hits the accounts. So typically it's after it's already been done and paid. So making sure that we've got good structures in place so that on the front end, people understand how to charge things, where to charge things, have the right supporting documentation to charge things, puts us in a much better place this year.
well, and I would say that's why, Cindy's background, she's Plant Moran, CPA auditor. Brad was Plant Moran, CPA auditor. That makes a huge difference having qualified staff in there, that high-level qualified staff. So that's why we brought Brad in. We looked, fortunate to find him to come in to help us. He and Cindy work well together because they can bounce things off each other. I mean, then once in a while bounce things off me too, but, I've got the same background as they do, so.
No, thank you.
Yeah, and
Except
we're
for it
available
wasn't
year
like-
round too for your team to call us and ask questions. And we always like to hear about things throughout the year instead of coming out here and being, surprised by something.
Okay, any other questions? Alright, thank you. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much.
And thanks Cindy for working extra hours, coming on weekends, I've seen you, so appreciate it. Alright, Jim, do you wanna talk about the wireless communication policy?
Yeah, thank you. So, this year, the House and Senate both passed separate bills that will restrict wireless communications. It has to be in place by next year. The governor signed it, and this is the first reading of a policy that was provided to us by Miller Johnson. I don't know if you want me to read it, or it's there for everybody to see.
I guess we see, do we have to read it or no?
I don't think so.
Okay, as long as it's there, the board sees it, acknowledge it, then we're good. We will move to audience participation. Do we have anyone?
Yes.
Alright. So this portion of the agenda is for citizens to address questions or comments pertaining to the agenda. The board will listen, take comments or question under advisement, and not respond at this time. Presiding officer will refer a question to the superintendent for research and response. Person wishing to address the Board of Education must complete an audience participation form and submit it to the board's president before the meeting starts. Form must be filled out completely to be accepted. Joanne, go ahead.
Chris Comer.
Ms. Coleman.
Hello, you know I'm your problem child. Okay, so good evening, everyone. I'm going to hopefully be teaching summer school, and I was talking to some colleagues, and we were kind of trying to figure out what is happening in the afternoon, not in the morning with the teachers, but in the afternoon. I understand that the grant that we're using, you use high school students, and so some of the questions that we all have are, who is going to be supervising the students? I get that there is a coordinator, but is there somebody that's, you know, closer to them than just the coordinator that's somewhere in the office? Will these people, students or younger people, be trained on not classroom management, some type of management where they can deal with kids that have different needs? Are they gonna be fingerprinted? Are they going to be unsupervised when they're with the students? And again, is the coordinator supposed to supervise the high school students and the younger students? And then the other question was about first aid, like we're having students that are coming from maybe not inside our district. So is there going to be some type of plan for our healthcare staff, like our nurses or our paras that work with students that have health issues? Or, and again, some of these students are not from our district supposedly. So again, how would we feed that information to the correct people? And then the last question is not for me, I'm sure it's coming, but people wanna know, when will they know when they will be hired that they are doing summer school? So again, if your kid was in summer school, you have to think, wouldn't you want people that are fingerprinted, that don't have a record to be in a classroom or in a gym or going on a field trip with your children? I think that's how you gotta look at it. These are all your kids. If you have signed up to be on the school board, these are all your kids, not just the ones that are fine, but the ones that have problems, the ones that may be gay, the ones that may be trans or whatever. They are all your students. So I just would appreciate if you guys would kind of take it like that and say, all right, yeah, what are we doing about that? Thank you.
Next.
Chris Brown. Oh, thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name's Chris Brown. I'm here from Lagarda Security, who has been your current security provider since 2 weeks after I was hired in February of 2014. I'm here on behalf of Lagarda Security to make a request that the board reconsider the district's recommendation to bring on a new security provider due to some miscommunication that was done during the bidding process between a district representative and two Lagarda security representatives, one of which was myself and another was our director of operations, who was told that the district was no longer requiring a bond for the bid, which ended up disqualifying my company due to, again, some miscommunication. We submitted a full bid package to the district that was very, very competitive for the past 14 plus years. We've been here with the district. Our officers are embedded within the schools, within your community. I don't believe that the district necessarily needs to go out for bid for security services. The only two reasons I could name of why you would go out to bid would be if you had bad service, to which I'm not aware of any current issues with security. As a matter of fact, the gentleman in charge of the RFP just as recent as 2 weeks ago, wrote us a very, very complimentary letter of recommendation to submit on our behalf when we are proposing our services to other companies. And in another conversation with him just this morning, he reiterated that to me, that he would be more than happy to speak on our behalf on the excellent level of service that we provide and the professionalism. The only other reason I can think of that the district would want to go out for bid for this service would be for budget reasons. Obviously, if you would like to see if you could save some money. However, the bid proposal that the district will be presenting to you today and asking for your approval is going to cost your district more than $100,000 per year than the proposal that my company supplied. Again, a company that's been here for many, many years, and to my knowledge, again, they've not had any concerns, any issues. As a matter of fact, many of the district staff have voiced their opinion and their disapproval of removing my company from the security contract. I'm here to graciously and professionally request that you deny the district's request to change security companies.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next.
Those were the only two.
All those other two? Okay, thank you. All right, we move on to action items. Approval of invoice and check register. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
I heard Mr. Ferris, and seconded by Ms. Villianick. Resolved that the check register for the period April 15, 2026 through May 13, 2026, as in clause B approved. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, 6 ayes, 1 absent. Motion carries. Resolution number 3, acceptance of the audit report. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
I heard Mr. Edgeham, seconded by Mr. Wade. Resolved that the Board of Education does hereby accept the 2024-2025 audit report as presented by Yao and Yao. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, 6 ayes, 1 absent, motion carries. Approval of student trip. Do we have,
I think Sarah's here. Yeah, there she is.
okay.
Hello.
Hi, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Did you wanna say something before we vote on this?
No, this is just our kind of it's become a standard for the senior class to take a trip to Cedar Point. This year it is fully funded by fundraising and by student contribution, and I'm here to answer any questions that you may have.
All right, no questions.
Are you gonna ride the rides?
Yeah.
No. I will be a responsible adult and hang out in the pavilion for any emergencies that may arise. Other
So
adults are
first
welcome to
aid
come.
will be
I'm
provided.
the first aid person and emergency person. Other adults will ride the rides.
All right, good.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right,
Guys, have fun.
all right, can I get a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Obey,
Second.
second by Ms. Bolinek. Result of the Board of Education does hereby approve the request of Sarah Linicky and Jeffrey Sparrow.
Joffrey.
Jeffrey Sparrow, along with up to 5 more adult chaperones to take the HHS senior class, approximately 110 students, to Cedar Point in Sandusky, Ohio, June 6, 2026. Trip will be funded through the class fundraising account. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, 6 ayes, 1 absent, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we have another student trip.
Just a minute,
Yeah.
please come on down.
I'll come up for questions. I didn't prepare a slide.
Oh, no worries.
Yeah, okay.
So you're going to
Yeah, so this is,
Outdoor Adventure Club?
yeah, it's a trip, it's a collaborative school trip through Detroit Outdoors. So it's actually summer trips. So we'll have 5 Hamtramck High students with, I believe 5 from Marygrove and 5 from Western, and teachers from outdoor adventure clubs of, each school. And we're going to the Upper Peninsula for 5 days. And it's part of this urban forestry grant that Detroit Outdoors got.
and are using the money to fund our spring outdoor adventure program. We've been visiting different forests, so we've visited an urban forest at Lasky Park, and then a hardwood forest last week at Bald Mountain. Next week, Lake Erie Metro Park, Carolinian Forest with canoeing, and then we're visiting the old growth pine forest at Hartwick Pines at the end of the month, and then 5 students from that will go on to the Upper Peninsula.
Nice.
So it's all part of like learning about forestry.
Real nice. Can the
Yeah.
board come with you guys?
If I were organizing this trip, I'd have to ask.
Thank you.
Is it
Yeah.
first come, first served for the students, or is it like,
No,
there's requirements for it?
Well, ideally, we'll get students who have participated in this entire spring.
Oh, okay.
So that's the ideal. And then, because we've so far, we've had 2 trips and we've had 20 kids each trip. So we'll see, who wants to camp more after they do the one night and
Okay.
who's available. So it'll be kind of kids who have gone through that. That's the hope.
All right, thank you.
So are you gonna be able to see the Kirtland warbler when you go to the pine forest?
Oh, I hope so.
I hope so too.
Yeah, we do
It's
have.
a white bird,
Yeah, we do have someone from the Audubon Society going with us, so
It's a big
maybe.
deal.
Yeah, take
Yeah.
photos. We'd love to see.
Yeah, so.
All right, can I get a motion?
Motion.
I heard Ms. Molinek, seconded by Mr. Obeid. Resolved that the Board of Education does hereby approve the request of Jessica Madden to take 5 students from the HHS Outdoor Adventure Club to the 5-day Urban Forestry Summer Expedition Program, June 22nd, through the 26th of 2026. The trip is funded through a grant received from Detroit Outdoors. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, 6 ayes, 1 absent, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck.
All right, Coach, come on up.
There's a few.
Hello, everyone.
How you doing? Nice.
Cold.
It is cold.
Do you wanna say something about these trips before we vote on them?
The trips are, they're invited trips.
Okay.
We have about 6 kids that potentially can play Division I basketball, and a lot of the schools that we're going to, they are interested in our kids, like very, very interested. The B-Cam trip is basically all the top schools in Michigan, basketball programs in Michigan attend. It's an invite only as well, and all the college coaches is from everywhere will be there. And this year we have 3 games on the main floor, so that's really big. And it's another invite into, it's at Cedar Point, and it's Michigan versus Ohio. So they take the top 20 teams from Michigan, the top 20 teams from Ohio, and we play against each other at Cedar Point. And again, that's a live period for all the college coaches to come in and recruit kids. And like I said, it's 7 kids in our program right now, 6 or 7 kids. There's one coming up, but he's young. But it's 7 kids in our program that will be playing high-ranking Division I basketball.
Nice.
That's impressive.
We're gonna have a lot going on this year.
All right, represent the Cosmos. Okay, approval of student athlete trips, can I get a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Obeid,
Second.
second by Mr. Elgin. Resolved that the Board of Education does hereby approve the request of Dennis Foster to take the varsity boys basketball team to the BCAM NCAA Division I team event at Grand Valley State University in Grand Rapids, Michigan, June 13th to 14th of 2026. Trip will be funded through the athletic budget. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, 6 ayes, 1 absent, motion carries. Approval of student athlete trip, can I get a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Mr.
Second.
Ferris, seconded by Mr. Elgin. Resolved that the Board of Education does hereby approve the request of Dennis Foster to take the varsity boys basketball team to the Midwest Live event in Sandusky, Ohio, June 27th through the 29th of 2026. Trip will be funded through the athletic budget. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? 6 ayes, 1 absent, motion carries. Resolution number 8, approval of student athlete trips. Can I get a motion? Motion by Mr. Ferris, second by Mr. Elgin. Resolved that the Board of Education does hereby approve the request of Dennis Foster to take a varsity boys basketball team to the following out-of-state basketball event: Purdue Fort Wayne, Indiana, on June 3rd, 2026. Bowling Green State, Bowling Green, Ohio, on June 7th, 2026. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Alright, six ayes, one absent, motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck. Good luck. Alright, approval of staff conference. This is for Leola Bang, Characters from Tacoma. Alright, can I get a motion?
Motion.
Second.
I heard Ms. Williams, seconded by Mr. Obey. So the result that the Board of Education does hereby approve the request of Leola Banks to attend the national conference hosted by Character Strong in Tacoma, July 23rd, 2026, trip funded using professional development funds. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Alright, six ayes, one absent, motion carries. Approval of staff conference. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Ms. Williams, seconded by Mr. Elgin. Resolved that the Board of Education does hereby approve the request of the MLD Director, Facilitator, and Board Vice President, Murtala Obaid, and 15 teachers to attend the WIDA conference to be held in St. Louis, September 16th through the 18th, 2026. Total approximate cost of $12,000. Conference will be funded through Section 41. All in favor?
Aye.
You guys got questions before? She's here.
Have fun.
She's actually being appointed to be on the board, right?
Yeah,
Or-
I was selected by MD to be on the advisory committee.
On the
for
advisory
WIDA,
committee,
the
yes.
National Advisory
Yes.
Committee
So that's great for HPS.
Oh, wow,
Awesome.
congrats.
Yeah.
yeah, so I'll be representing 4 states.
That's why I'm going to support.
And thank you, Mr. VP, for your time, for your support.
So,
Appreciate it.
so how, when, at a conference like this, because, I don't remember this from previous years, what does a board member do while they're there?
Learn about WIDA and what, because WIDA is our state test for language proficiency.
Right.
And everything that goes behind the WIDA, making sure that teachers are teaching the strategies that will help our English language learners grow. Mr. Obaid will do that presentation when he comes.
Make sure you record it. All right, all in favor? Or did I read it? Or
Yes.
not?
Yeah,
I
you
did,
did.
okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, six ayes, one absent, motion carries. Have fun.
I'm here for the next one.
Oh,
too.
you're here for the next one. Approval of purchase. Okay, you wanna talk about it? Go ahead.
Yeah. let's get that. So most of them are renewals from,
Okay.
It's number 11.
number 11. So this is a renewal, for our, those are basically the resources that our ML teachers use in the high school and, middle school. So that's a renewal, the National Geographic Lift.
Okay.
Elevation is a software platform that we're purchasing for the first time, but it's used throughout the state for management of the scores to plan where you wanna place the kids. It also has strategies for the teachers. It does progress monitoring, it does a lot of things, and it's targeted towards the MLs, that's why it's got ELL in the beginning. So
Okay.
we need a tool like that in the district. Summit K-12 is a renewal as well. Then, I think those are it.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right. You guys got any question on those or no?
No.
All right. Okay, can I get approval purchase?
Motion first.
Motion by Mr. Obaid, seconded by Mr. Elgin. Resolved that the Board of Education does hereby approve the renewal of Cengage Learning National Geographic Platform for the MLD department. Total estimated cost of $34,475, funded through Section 41. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, six ayes, one absent, motion carries. Resolution number 12, approval of purchase. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Ms.
Second.
Volinick, seconded by Mr. Obaid. Resolved that the Board of Education does hereby approve the purchase of the Elevation software platform for ML data management, compliance reporting, and student monitoring. Total estimated cost to $35,429, funded through Section 41. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Six ayes, one absent, motion carries. Resolution number 13, approval of purchase. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
I heard Mr. Obaid, second by Ms. Volinick. Resolved that the Board of Education does hereby approve the renewal of Summit K-12 program for K-12 MLs, total estimated cost of $32,860, funded through Title III immigrant funds. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? 6 ayes, 1 absent, motion carries. Resolution number 4, awarding a bid, 14, I'm sorry, award of bids, security services. Are they here? Yes. Come on up before we read this resolution.
Good evening. My name is Mark Lankos, and I'm representing the DM Berg Group today. We are a company that's been providing building services for over 30 years and security services for almost 20. We are represented well throughout the state of Michigan in many different districts for security, including Avondale, Chip Valley, Southfield Schools, Davison, Holly, Clarenceville, and a variety of others. We have a lot of experience in the school space, and we're super excited about the opportunity to be partners with you guys.
Okay, well, how long experience you guys have?
About 30 years in total as far as our services go, about 20 in terms of security.
Any questions?
So, not for him, I have a question about the process and how this happened, because it seems like there was some miscommunication.
There was no miscommunication. It was clearly stated that a bid bond was required, and subsequently, there was a question. Bruce told everybody there a bid bond was required. So there was no miscommunication.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right, awarding a bid, resolution number 14, can I get a motion?
Second.
Motion by Mr. Ferris, seconded by Mr. Elgahame. Resolved that the Board of Education does hereby award the bid for security services to D. Ember Group, being the lowest responsible bidder based on qualification, experience, and compliance with bid specifications. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, 6 ayes, 1 absent, motion carries. Congratulations.
Yes, sir.
All right. Resolution number 15, awarding of bid custodial services. Grand Rapids Building Services.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Heather East. I am representing Grand Rapids Building Services, or also known as GRBS. We are local to the state of Michigan. We kind of provide services here and only here. We have been in business for 111 years, providing custodial services to school districts and higher education for 25 years. We pride ourselves on being local, hiring local, partnering for a custom program for every single district based upon what your specific needs are. So not just a, cookie cutter, here's the program. It's specific to what's the district looking for and how can we be a good partner for you.
All right, I like that hiring local. So,
Absolutely.
yeah, we gotta get families in our building because they're more familiar to the students and our community. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, any questions?
Can I add something here? Just to show why we go out for bids.
Yes.
We had 10 bidders on this. Our current contractor was the 7th lowest bidder.
Okay.
So by going with GRBS, they were $200,000 less
230, yes,
Yep. per year. And so it's best practice to go out for bids every 3, 4, 5 years. The state requires us to go out for bids for food service every 5 years. You do that because you might have somebody comes in, provides service a little bit differently. It's, again, just best practice to go out for bids. We haven't gone out for bids for either service since I've been here. We were just renewing them every year with a 3 to 4% increase. So at this point, Bruce and I said, we need to go out for bids and see what's out there. We didn't do transportation. As I told you in the weekly update, we will renew them for another year. We will bid them out probably next year.
After we situate the schools.
Yes, and we'll get all of our contracted services on different cycles.
Yeah.
So we won't be bidding all of them
All
at
at
the same
once.
time.
Alright,
And is this one, or I guess in general, so this will be for the next 3 years, or?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Thanks, Heather.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Alright, can I get a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Wade, second by Mr. El-Gaheem. Resolved that Board of Education does hereby award the bid for custodial services to Grand Rapids Building Services, being the lowest responsible bidder based on qualification, experience, and compliance with bid specifications. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Alright, 6 ayes, 1 absent, motion carries. Award of bid HBS kitchen equipment replacement.
Oh.
You wanna say something about this?
Yeah, please, thanks. So, Brian had stated that, your food service fund balance can really only have 2 months worth of expenditures in there. I went back and checked, and we have been out of compliance since 2021, when we had a $1.7 million fund balance. You know, if you're required every year when you're over that fund balance in June to submit a plan to reduce that. Now, we had not done that since now. We submitted that plan this year to spend down fund balance, which, you know, we brought in a contractor. Actually, it was Great Lakes, their food service provider of equipment. They went and they did inventory of all of our equipment. We did an assessment, and we said that we needed to replace a certain amount of equipment. On this bid, we had $600,000. Ironically, they didn't bid, which was a surprise. You know, we thought they would bid, they did the walkthrough, but they didn't bid. And in this bid, the total bid was for $600,000. But we took a couple items out. We took a walk-in freezer out, and then we also took I believe it was a hood, that we would have to do more work if we took it out. So we took those 2 items out, bringing our total bid to $383,141.
Is this for one specific school, or is this for
No.
all the schools?
This
in general,
is,
like in
so
total?
the list of schools is, I think I provided that in your weekly update, is for the high school at KMS, DW and Horizon, where we have kitchens.
Okay, cause I was gonna ask, like, when, you know, with the audit, when they mentioned that we're out of compliance with the food services and
Yeah.
stuff. I mean, why not, like, why can't we, like, you know, just utilize it all at once and
Well,
see what, like, tables, I don't know, see which school needs tables and
Oh, yeah,
replace the tables.
We
and
did
stuff.
that too, we replaced tables,
Right now, like currently?
we have replaced
Oh,
tables.
you have? Okay.
Yes, but one thing about being out of compliance, they can stop funding you if you're out of compliance. So we could be at that point. I mean, we've been out of compliance, like I said, 6 years, so.
So, we shouldn't spend the money, is what you're saying? Or-
No, we'll be in compliance
We
now.
should.
Oh.
Because
well,
we did a proper spend down plan,
Okay.
and we went out to bid, and this is to help us do that spend down. So we should be in compliance at the end of this year.
Okay.
Is that?
Yeah,
Makes
I
sense.
understand.
Okay.
Alright, can I get a motion?
Motion.
Did I hear Ms. Mia?
Yeah.
Alright, awesome.
We give it to.
Alright, Ms. Mia, seconded by Ms. Volyanik. Resolved that the Board of Education does hereby award the bid for the replacement of kitchen equipment to Stafford Smith Inc., being the lowest bidder meeting specification. Net bid for the equipment is $383,141. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Aye, 6 ayes, 1 absent, motion carries. Approval of position. This is for an ML instructional coach. Ms. Avery.
So we've been trying to get an ML instructional coach in, we've had them in our budget, but we've been trying to get that position out there. We feel that we have coordinators in every building, but we need somebody to help with making sure the compliance pieces are there, like, we can tell people that this is what you have to do, in terms of making sure that everything's accountable for the funding, the state and federal stipulations. So this coach would work with us, and as well as support the buildings.
And this is funded through section 41, so.
That's section 41.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? Alrighty, can I get a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Wade,
Second.
second by Ms. Bolinek. Result, the Board of Education does hereby approve the creation of a ML instructional coach position, salary and benefits per the HFT contract. Anticipated start date of August 31, 2026. Position will be funded through section 41. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Alright, 6 ayes, 1 absent, motion carries. Another position
This one's Heather.
for Heather, okay. Hello.
This position is almost the exact same position that we had, but we had to rewrite it because it's now a 12-month position than a 10-month position. It was a position that used to have the summers off, and we found that there was so much work that needed to get done. So we added a few more qualifications in there to get the most highly qualified person. We do have our current MTSS coordinator retiring in June, so we thought that this would be a perfect opportunity to rebuild this position to strengthen MTSS in the district. So we're calling it a specialist position to kind of align with our other organizational structures for positions.
Perfect, thank you. Any other questions? Alright, can I get a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Ms. Bolinek, seconded by Mr. Obeid. Resolved that the Board of Education does hereby approve the creation of a MTSS specialist position, compensation based on the exempt staff salary schedule through 2026-2027, starting at $92,700. Anticipated start date of July 1st, 2026. Position will be funded through 31A funding. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Alright, 6 ayes, 1 absent, motion carries. Resolution number 19, approval of MHSAA membership. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Ms. Bolinek,
Second.
second by Mr. Obey. Resolved that the Board of Education does hereby adopt the Michigan High School Athletic Association membership resolution as outlined for the year August 1, 2026 through July 31st, 2027. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Alright, 6 ayes, 1 absent, motion carries. Resolution number 20, approval of investment firm. Can I get a motion? Motion by Mr. Ferris,
Second.
second by Mr. Elgahane. Resolved that the Board of Education does hereby designate TWP through Wells Fargo Securities LLC as the investment firm for Hamtramck Public Schools. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Alright, 6 ayes, 1 absent, motion carries. Resolution number 21, Wayne Resa budget. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Ms. Bolinek,
Second.
second by Mr. Obey. Whereas stated, I'm not gonna read all this, therefore be it resolved that the Wayne Resa General Fund operating budget for the 2026-2027 school year be supported, and that Secretary of the Board is hereby directed to submit a copy of this resolution to the Secretary of Wayne Resa Board of Education, along with comments. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Alright, 6 ayes, 1 absent, motion carries. Thank you. Alright, another one. Alright, employee non-renewals. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Ms.
Second.
Bolinek, second by Mr. Elgahane. Alright, this is long. Do I have to read all this?
Well, there's three.
Go ahead. Yeah. You wanna say anything?
If you have questions, but there's 3 non-rules on the agenda today. All probationary status
Okay.
employees.
Any questions? No? Okay. Alright, it was motion by Ms. Bolinek, seconded by Mr. Elgahane, whereas the Hamtramck Public School presently employs 102148 as a probationary teacher, and whereas the interim superintendent of school has recommended that employment and services of said probationary teacher to be discontinued for the reason that the teacher unsatisfactory probationary period, and whereas pursuant to Article 2, Section 3 of the Teacher Tenure Act, MCL 38.83, the Board of Education is required to provide written notice of whether the probationary teacher work is effective and discontinued of employment to a probationary teacher at least 15 days before the end of the school year. That services are to be discontinued so that said date being no later than June 15, 26. And whereas the Board of Education accept the aforementioned recommendation of the superintendent of the schools, now therefore be resolved that effective June 30th, 2026, the employment was 102148 probation teacher B, and the same as hereby discontinued, terminated for the reason that include failure to meet district and state compliant timeline, difficulty in caseload and providing consistent instructional support, lack of attendance in co-taught classes and improper planning for shared purposes, incomplete documentation, services like MyStar, and limited preparation for IEP meetings, inconsistent work attendance, difficulty managing classroom environment, missed building level deadlines, that will grade submission, testing certification, inappropriate behavior in testing environment, resulting in student and parent complaints. 2, the interim superintendent or designee shall provide any legal required notification of this action along with a copy of the resolution to 102148 prior to June 15, 2026. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, 6 ayes, 1 absent, motion carries. All right, resolution number 23. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Aguirre,
Second.
second by Mr. Ovade. Whereas the Hamtramck Public School presently employs 102315 as a probationary teacher, and whereas the interim superintendent of schools has recommended that the employment and services of said probationary teacher be discontinued for the reason that the teacher unsatisfactory probationary period, and whereas pursuant to Article 2, Section 3 of the Teacher Retention Act, MCL 38.83, the Board of Education is required to provide written notice of whether probationary teacher work is effective and discontinued of employment to a probationary teacher at least 15 days before the end of the school year, that services are to be discontinued, said date being no later than June 15, 2026. And whereas the Board of Education accept the aforementioned recommendation of the superintendent of schools, now therefore be resolved that effective June 30, 2026, the employment of 102315, a probationary teacher B, and the same is hereby discontinued, terminated for the reasons that include employees not shown the aptitude to successfully implement the education program is right at the Hamtramck Public School despite sustained coaching, learning direction, and peer support throughout the school year. The employee did not meet the expectation outlined in the IDP. 2, the interim superintendent or designee shall provide any legal required notification of the action along with a copy of the resolution to 102315 prior to June 15, 2026. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? 6 ayes, 1 absent, motion carries. You got this along.
You wanna skip to the now therefore part?
Right.
All the same.
It's all the
Yeah.
same except for that.
So it's the same thing?
Is
All
it-
right.
Except for the actual reasons.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Resolution 24, employment of non-renewal. Got a motion?
Motion.
Edgar Hames, second by Ms. Right here, Mr. Obey. Whereas stated, now therefore be resolved that effective June 30, 2026, employment 102055, a probationary teacher B, and the same is hereby discontinued, terminated for the reasons that include inability to constantly meet district compliance deadline, inadequate preparation for meetings, and difficulty providing concrete data and documentation to support student intervention and findings, limited ability to appropriately seek guidance when needed, and difficulty utilizing provided feedback, strengthening professional practice, build capacity, and improve work performance. 2nd, interim superintendent or designee shall provide any legal requirement notification of this action along with a copy of the resolution to 102055 prior to June 15, 2026. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, 6 ayes, 1 absent, motion carries. Thank you. All right, trying to get out of here before tip off. Consent agenda, resolution number 25, approval of consent agenda items. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Made,
Second.
second by Mr. Elia. Resolved that the Board of Education approves the following items under consent agenda, items A through J. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, 6 ayes, 1 absent, motion carries. Do we have any hirees here? New hires? No? All right. All right, audience participation. This portion of the agenda is for citizens to address any questions or comments to the board. The board will listen, take comments and questions under advisement, and not respond at this time. The presiding officer will refer questions to the superintendent for research and response. Joanne?
Josh Hansnick.
Is this on?
Yes, it is.
Great.
Thank you for having me again this week. I'm very happy to see all of you here. I'm very happy with the work that you guys do every day in order to make things work for our students. I am coming here once again to tell you the power that you have. If you asked a student in our district who is more important, the president or school board member, they would say the president, because everybody knows how important the president is, right? But I want to ask, who makes a bigger difference in these kids' lives? The president or you, the school board? Because I do know that the decisions that you guys make in this body affect these kids. They talk about it. They talk about the choices that you make. So let me give you an example of the choices that you make and how the kids talk about it. I believe it was this year, earlier in 2026, maybe it was back in 2025, you adopted a new school board policy. I believe it was 7012. School board prep policy 7012. This was a policy in order to portray neutrality in our district and make sure that our students aren't exposed to things that perhaps community members are not a fan of. But the way that your policy was written, this is your flag policy, by the way. If you don't know which policies that you've passed this year, you passed a policy banning all flags other than the American, Michigan, city, and POW flags from our properties without explicit pedagogical rationale. So our teachers have been taking down their flags, and I get the opportunity now as an interventionist to wander around the school and hear conversations that I don't normally hear when I'm stuck in the classroom. And so I get to hear what the kids say when those flags aren't there the next day, and they say, "Are you mad at me? Do you not like us anymore?" Because we're taking down their culture. They're taking down their history. We're taking down their families. There is no reason our board should have such a blanket policy that discludes students from feeling included. We are stronger together not because we are all the same, but because we are all different. We are stronger together because we should have pride for these backgrounds. We should have pride for the countries that we come from our origins, from our roots. And we should bring that to make this place the best place we want it to be. So I encourage the board to revisit their policy. Thank you.
Thank you.
Tony Coral.
Good evening. I have some information to share with you tonight. The information I'm going to share seems to suggest that last summer, 3 new paraprofessionals were hired by the district without any board approval. In the fall, based on a tip, I requested a list of all paraprofessionals who worked last summer school. Sadly, I did not have the time. I would have liked to dig into this. Ms. Comer's just passed out that list to you that I received. You will see 3 highlighted names. The union has looked at several agendas from the beginning of 2025 leading up to summer school. And those names do not appear as new hires, not at all. Why is that? Well, it has been suggested to me that 2 of those 3 are related to central office employees. Again, not one of those 3 new hires were approved by you, the school board. I bring this to you because if that is true, that those 2 names are related to central office employees, then I cannot trust any investigation done by central office. I'm here to ask you, the board, to look into this issue. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Max Spade.
You don't want to see me again, but he asked me.
Yeah.
Good evening, my name is Max Spade. I'm the assistant principal at Dickinson West, and I appreciate Afreen joining me up here. We're both members of the Hamtramck Administrators Association, and last week was Teacher Appreciation Week. And I'm here to appreciate one of our best teachers. Can you reset the timer?
I can't get it to work.
All right, so, I'm not, hey, there we go. I don't want to get cut short on this one. I'm here to appreciate one of our best teachers, my friend and colleague, Therese Comer. Therese is a teacher at Dickinson West. I've known Therese for about 8 or 9 years. She's always been the strongest advocate for students. She shares her hard-earned advice with you regularly. And her classroom is 100 feet from my office. So she also shares that hard-earned advice with me regularly. Therese does not just prepare students for academic success, she prepares them for life. She sponsors or leads the ski club, esports, canoe trips, and more. She loves on those kids like no one else does. They come to her as young 6th graders and they leave her classroom as mature middle schoolers. Therese, as a student of her craft, she and I have had several fabulous conversations about teaching best practices, and I've watched her push herself to constantly provide more for our students. I am very proud to call her a colleague, and I invite you to join me in appreciating Therese and all the HBS teachers during and in recognition of Teacher Appreciation Week.
He knows that if he had told me I wasn't showing up, so.
Yes, that's
But thank you.
Good, thank you. Next.
I believe it's Aaron Amos.
Thank you so much. Like a comedian, I feel like I haven't said it myself. Good evening, everyone. How are you all?
Good evening.
My name is Aaron Amos. I work as a food service worker at Hamtramck High School. Currently a good evening. And currently a CTE
You can
paraprofessional.
grab this chair. Got it?
I think so.
Hamtramck team.
Yes, come on.
I'm not sure if it was better for us to speak separately or together. But again, my name is Aaron Amos. I work as a food service worker for Variety Food Service and currently a CTE paraprofessional at the high school. First and foremost, thank you all so much for having this forum for us and having us allowed to come and speak. And thank you for all the work you all do on a regular basis. I appreciate you all. I met some of you all on several instances or caterings. I just came to voice some concerns that we have about the particular food service vendor that we currently have. I just feel like it wouldn't be do right or good sit right in my heart just to move on and not let the issue be known to you all, because the kids come first, and the nutrition of the kids and the safety of the kids is always a most priority for myself. I have left the food service kitchen, as you all know, and I work at high school due to some of the issues in the kitchen that were addressed but never actually solved or rectified, and I believe they're still trying to find a resolution. Several of those issues were like expired food, old food being served to the kids, especially during Ramadan. The counts were misleading or falsified, and a lot of the food that was set out for the students was beyond the actual time and temperature for the district and the school for the students to have healthy meals, so to speak. For example, for the Ramadan bag, they will be set out around noon, 1 o'clock, and as you all know, school don't let out until later on in the day. And so those products will just sit out there all day long in the lobbies of the different schools, whether it's the Hamtramck School or Dickerson or Talbeda or Horizon. Those bags included, as you all know, dairy products, milk, juice, things of that nature. Sometimes deli meats, cheese, things of that nature. Also just the actual prepping of the food. There have been numerous times that we tried to enhance the flavor or the taste for the kids, and we were told just to make it edible. which offended me and made me upset because I love these kids being here in the district so far. Just to give you a little bit of background, I don't want to take up too much time. I worked in TV and film my entire career. I left because I wanted to cook. I wanted to get a hand in culinary. And I thought that this would be a good foot in the door to start my culinary experiences. I don't have any technical teaching. All my teaching is from journalism at Wayne State University. So in the kitchen, I learned to love these ladies. They taught me so much of what I know. Being in the district for 16 years, Millie being at the, as you all know Millie, they taught me so much. And they taught me, I'm so sorry. They taught me to love these kids, and I love these kids from the bottom of my heart. One of the reasons why I didn't want to just leave altogether was because I did love the kids and the staff that I worked with. So I did apply to be a paraprofessional. I didn't work last summer though, so. Okay, good. But I love these kids, and so much so that I didn't want to completely leave, so I applied to be a paraprofessional. And so I'm still in the classroom. I haven't been in the classroom for a while due to a medical situation, but regardless of the fact, I love these kids. I want to see them succeed, and I want to see them grow. I have since taken a position at Fox 2, so I will be leaving pretty soon, going back to TV and film. But while I'm there, I will be talking to them about donating their old camera equipment to the Hamtramck School District, especially Hamtramck High School, because I think TV and film and media is something that they should be learning. And I will come back and teach that free of charge. But with that being said, there's just a lot of concerns that we have. And what you see right here are individuals who worked for all the different vendors you all have had over the years, but for some reason, this particular vendor, they have stepped away. Whether that's been they have been fired, let go, discriminated against, scrutinized, or put in a hostile situation of stress. Again, I didn't want to leave, so that's why I went to the para side, but these are several concerns that we have raised that weren't addressed or fixed or had any kind of resolve. And so, like I said, I just can't see myself going forward, and if I never come back to this district, one thing I want to make sure is that the kids eat correctly and have nutrition. So, yeah, that's my TED Talk, so thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Does the ladies want to speak?
My bad.
You guys have 8 minutes left, so you guys have 12.
Okay.
Okay, I've been working with Hamtramck High School for 16 years. I was so happy and to give more years, God forbid. But the problem happened with variety. We never wait for that. Raufa, the lead cooker, and I'm the kitchen manager. Because five companies, food service, came and go to the Hamtramck district. We never have a problem. We never have any issues. But this company, very discriminated. Probably, you know, we got so upset when they post something by the board. They have to post it by all the language for the employee.
Yes.
They cannot avoid anyone. They post only by the Bengali and the English. How about the Arabic employees? We are 4. They never posted by the Arabic. And what happened with me and Raufa, I told you we've been working for 16 years. We give a lot. Even I moved from Hamtramck, I still drive to Hamtramck every single morning to attend 5:30. I open the door as a kitchen manager. And what happened was with our managers, it was shut because we didn't deserve that. Like I told you, we're working for the kids. We cook for them. We do our best for them because we take them like our kids. But the way how they treat the kids lately, the way how they serve the kids and they grab the food from their hand, it gets us upset because I told you, the many years experience, it never happened. There is a good way to talk with the kids because we are working for them. We are coming to the school as a food service to cook for them and to prepare for them and to be, you know, beside them. But now lately we got a lot of concern from the kids about the food, the way how they treat them, the way how they serve. They serve a short portion for them. I don't know, we keep it in your hands. We're out the work now because we didn't resign, we didn't get fired. But they replace us when we're at the medical leave. And this shouldn't happen by the law, it shouldn't happen. And they said they passed papers for the leaders for all the schools that we resign the day we have the meeting with them. We came to resolve the problem, to solve it, They didn't. But they post a paper that we resigned at that date. We have messages, we have a lot of proof that we didn't resign. And thank you so much for listening to us. That's all what I have to say.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yep, I have something to say.
Yep, you got 2 minutes.
That's okay, I'll say it quickly. Hello, my name is Mildred Hirsch, and a lot of you do know me for all the 25 years I've been here. I have been the administrative assistant for the food service director since it was Dan Connor's day of Sodexo. For all these years that I've been here, never had one problem. You will never hear anybody say anything that I did against the school district, against the food service. I did my job, I did it well. And I do have people in high places who will testify to that. Now, on March 4th of this year, I was as I was getting ready to go home, the HR from Variety said she wanted to talk to me. And there were the manager and the director. I'm not sure what her title is anymore. But I was told this story about the company is going in a different direction and they don't need me anymore. Well, but I did not get fired. I certainly did not quit because I love my job. And my main concern is to make sure that the lunch program at the breakfast, that all the meal counts are put in properly. All the meal counts are sent to Cynthia now on a timely basis, which I did at the end of every month. Reconcile it, you send the meal counts for each school, and then she does what she needs to do. But to say, we're going in a different direction, you still have to put those meal counts in. You still have to interact with the principals. You still have to interact with the students. And I have seen a lot of things because I worked out of the high school in the cafeteria that was totally out of line when it came to feeding these kids and the way they were treated. And it's with this new company. And again, thank you for letting me talk.
Of course.
And I'd still be here, but they went in a different direction. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for coming.
And one last thing, we had a chef, we had an executive chef, Lucia Glenn. She wanted to be here tonight with you all, but she could not. She is actually now the head chef for Flint School District, but she loved being in this district. She didn't want to leave, but unfortunately she felt as though she had to. But she wanted to be here tonight, and just wanted to let you all know that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for letting us speak.
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much. Is that more?
That's it.
All right, board calendar updates. Our next 3 months regular meetings, June 25th, July 8th, August 12th. Just as a reminder. All right, and before we adjourn, Linda will speak about the 5K run.
So Saturday at 9 o'clock over at Sussman Park, it's going to be the Hamtramck Health Hike, which
Yep.
is a blast.
Right in
So,
front of City Hall.
It's free, it's fun, it goes along the streets, and I'll be there. He's
I'll be
gonna be
there.
there, we're gonna race, you guys can come and watch. He's gonna win.
I don't know, we'll see.
I don't think so.
All right.
Is it? Is it gonna be Saturday?
Saturday, 9 AM.
He's
It's
gonna
awesome.
win. I'll be with him
It's
Friday
good.
night.
I'll still be sleeping, huh? All right,
Also, welcome to Tasia, first meeting.
yes, welcome, yes. All right, since there's no more business to conduct, the regular meeting has adjourned, 7:39.